He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clyde Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Look, Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is Jay-Z.
Y'all, did R. Kelly really take the fall for Diddy? Because Jaguar Wright just let off another secret, and let's just say people are shocked. Jaguar's been ringing the alarm for years and calling out the darkness in the music industry. But this time, she's connecting two of the most controversial figures in R&B and hip-hop, R. Kelly and Sean Diddy Combs. And the theory is absolutely wild. R. Kelly didn't fall alone. It looks like he might have failed to protect Diddy. Now, from the FOs and the secret parties to the trafficking allegations, shady collaborations, and shocking betrayals, this story goes way deeper than just a few headlines. Jaguar Wright says the industry knew the men in power played all along. And some of those names like Jay-Z might just get dragged next. By the end of this video, you might be asking, where are Kelly and Diddy partners in crime? And did one take the heat so the other could run free? Let's get into it. Because Jaguar Wright has never been afraid to name names. And for years now, she's been telling anyone who would listen that Diddy and Jay-Z are at the core of an abusive, manipulative system in the music industry. According to her, these men aren't just moguls, they're monsters who've used their power to silence victims, enable PDF files, and protect their own secrets.
Stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with her.
Now, Jaguar first started raising eyebrows when she came out swinging during the pandemic, doing interviews and IG lives where she talked about everything from clout chasing execs to S-cults in plain sight. She wasn't subtle either. She straight up accused Jay-Z of bankrolling the surviving R. Kelly docuseries, not out of solidarity with the victims, but as a way to get the sniff off of him.
Biggie died, Tupac died, and then there was the fight between who was the top rapper now, Nas and Jay-Z, and then the next thing you know, Nas has a nervous breakdown and he's taken out of the game, and it's all Jay-Z.
It's all Jay-Z.
It's all Jay-Z. And he was working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all of those records together. They both fucked Aaliyah. They shared so much in common.
Now think about it. R. Kelly was the king of R&B. Jay-Z and Beyonce were trying to solidify their reign. What better way to clear the board than to knock Kelly out of the game permanently? Well, that's Jaguar Wright's theory, and she claims that Diddy was involved in similar tactics, hiding behind the scenes while throwing others under the bus. She's always said it, Diddy and R. Kelly were two sides of the same coin. The only difference, one got caught first. And according to her, Diddy is no better. And what he's being accused of now, she's been calling out for years. But let's be real a second. For a millisecond, the things Jaguar Wright has said about these freak-offs and underage parties and industry handlers seem like wild conspiracies back then, but now, with Diddy facing lawsuits and federal raids, people are starting to listen, and guess what? A lot of what she said is starting to check out. So when Jaguar Wright says R. Kelly didn't fall alone, he was pushed and maybe even sacrificed to protect bigger games, well, that ain't just gossip anymore. It's looking like the ugly truth hidden in plain sight.
Saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing.
Now let's talk connections, because while people love to act like Diddy and R. Kelly are on two separate scandals, Jaguar and others are pointing out the overlap, and it's not looking good. And let's start with Andrea Kelly. She's R. Kelly's ex-wife and the mother of his children. But did you know that she reportedly dated Diddy at one point? All while people were side-eyeing the timing of the relationship, there were whispers that the two actually met at one of Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Yes, the same freak-offs that Cassie and multiple lawsuits have detailed, where younger people, intoxication, and assault were allegedly regular occurrences. And here's where things get even darker. Sources claim that R. Kelly pimped out Andrea to Diddy, possibly a part of a sick arrangement between the two. Now look, none of this is proven in court, but knowing what we know now about both men, it wouldn't be that shocking, especially when you remember that R. Kelly's own daughter, Buku Abi, has said he touched her inappropriately when she was a child. She said she was too scared to speak up then, but that she's still healing from the trauma. So if you did this to your own kid, is it really far-fetched to think that he could hand off his ex-wife like a product at a party? And with Diddy now being exposed of doing similar things to a 9-year-old, luring him with promises of fame before allegedly hurting him, the overlap is chilling. Both men seem to have the same MO that prey on the young, the vulnerable, and the desperate, all while hiding behind fame, music, and wealth.
Mary J. Blige, who was a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment.
But look, Buku's not the only one speaking out. Multiple dancers, assistants, and even security staff have said that R. Kelly and Diddy ran in the same circles, that they have went to the same exclusive parties, and that they shared girls. And if even a fraction of that is true, y'all, it's giving an underground ring. And here's the kicker: the deeper people dig into Diddy's case, the more it starts to resemble R. Kelly's downfall. So let's start with R. Kelly. He was convicted under the RICO Act, which is used for organized crime. So not just abuse, but systemic abuse and help from staff, managers, and assistants who all played a part. He was also hit with charges for ST, kidnapping, obstruction of justice, and using his music career as a cover for grooming young victims. Now look at what Diddy is facing. He hasn't been convicted yet, but the allegations in the lawsuits and federal raids say he did the same thing. Paid off victims, threatened whistleblowers, used record labels, music studios, and mentorship as a trap, transported people across state lines for smacks, and ran an organized ring with people in his circle helping them to do it. So now the question becomes, why was Diddy still walking free? And why did R. Kelly get locked up so fast while Diddy got to live in his penthouse, throwing yacht parties and dodging these lawsuits for years? Well, that's where Jaguar Wright's theory comes in. She says R. Kelly was sacrificed to save Diddy, that the industry gave the public one big arrest, one huge scandal to satisfy the outrage, while keeping the rest of the PDF files protected behind the scenes. And honestly, the timing kind of supports it, because R. Kelly went down just as the Me Too movement started looking at the music industry, and Diddy's name was floating around back then, but nothing stuck until now, that is.
It's just going up from what these girls are saying. I mean, I just don't want it to get any worse. I would hope that he would want to be a better person and quit hurting. Quit hurting people. Quit hurting these girls. These women, these girls, they trust him. And I'm sure some of them love him like I did. And you don't get over a lot of this stuff. You carry it with you.
Now keep in mind, R. Kelly is currently serving a 30-year sentence for charges laid against him. And while some people may be laying low, doing their time, and hoping for a shot at parole, Kelly hops on a jailhouse phone and basically jumps out the window to defend Diddy. From prison, R. Kelly literally said people need to leave Puff alone and that the government was just targeting high-profile black men with power and money. He made it sound like Diddy's arrest was part of some bigger conspiracy to bring down the rich and famous, just like they did with him.
There was a time, right, where this was a play, this was y'all party, this was y'all, like if you were a participant, right, when you're of legal age, I don't understand what all the hoorah all of a sudden is against the wheel. It's against the wheel. Man, so you done came back to 300 parties, motherfucker, against the wheel.
But here's the kicker. R. Kelly isn't just defending Diddy out of loyalty. It looks like he might be protecting himself. Because let's be real a second, for a millisecond, if Diddy starts naming names to save his own neck, guess who's allegedly on that list? Yes, R. Kelly. And not just from back in the day when they were rubbing shoulders at industry parties and working on music. We're talking about deep, dark, behind the scenes stuff. Things that could tack on even more years to R. Kelly's sentence or wipe out any shot at any early release. And here's what's even crazier. Diddy hasn't said a single word about R. Kelly since all this went down. And when R. Kelly got convicted, a lot of celebs quickly distanced themselves and statements flew, collaborations got pulled, and people were making it crystal clear that we don't stand with that man. But Diddy, crickets, not a word, not a tweet, not even a recycled PR statement. And see, this is where people started raising eyebrows, because silence, especially from someone with as much as industry pool as Diddy, isn't always neutral. Sometimes it's strategic, and let's not forget, Diddy and R. Kelly weren't strangers. They may have not been BFFs, but they were definitely in the same circles, and y'all, there's some receipts. Because back in 1999, they even collabed on a track called Satisfy You, and it was a whole vibe at the time, with Diddy bringing that hip-hop edge and R. Kelly handling the vocals. But guess what else was swirling around that era? The Aaliyah rumors. Yes, the same exact people who were whispering about R. Kelly being married to a 15-year-old Aaliyah in secret, and Diddy still worked with him.
After that, all this money on this shit. Ain't got nobody to share with.
Yeah. Now fast forward to years later, photos surface of Diddy and R. Kelly kicking it at parties, and you already know how people get down at those Diddy parties, especially now with all these FO allegations and talks of young girls being styled like Harajuku Barbies. Sounds eerily similar to what R. Kelly's been accused of liking, doesn't it? So it's not hard to imagine, speculatively speaking, that these men may have been sharing more than just music connections. And do y'all remember Nicole Blank Becker, R. Kelly's lawyer? In a recent interview, Becker straight up said that she believes Diddy's about to start snitching. She said, Diddy's going to talk. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
I would say that it is very possible when Diddy recognizes that they have as much information as they do, which he's not going to even know it all for quite some time. He may be trying to figure out, hey, I give you this info, what's that going to do for me? And I wouldn't be surprised if those types of negotiations occur and continue. Because now we've got Diddy, and now Diddy is gonna go into that exact same type of formation, i.e. the charge of RICO, but Diddy's now got big names coming along with him. So just like Epstein, if you recall, that case had very, very big names as well. We didn't get too deep into that one because obviously we couldn't, because he was no longer around, so that just closed that up. But with Diddy, I mean, these people that are also named, I anticipate that every single one of them has been talked to by the feds.
And names he could drop big, like Jay-Z level. Allegedly, Diddy knows too much. So not just about the artists he works with, but about the entire system that's been running the industry behind the scenes. And Becker also broke down how the feds operate in these kinds of cases. She said the feds don't raid multiple properties unless they've been building a RICO-style case for months, maybe even years. They use victim statements, digital trails, and surveillance to tighten the net slowly but surely. Sound familiar? It's literally the same playbook they used on R. Kelly. And so here's where things get really messy, because Becker hinted that when Kelly went down, a lot of people stayed quiet, not because they believed he was innocent, but because they were involved also, allegedly. And people didn't want to testify because they were trying to protect themselves.
First, he was charged state-wise. people start to leave, right? The same people you depended on now, they're slowly going away. And I suppose in any matter, you know, people want to get away from danger, right? It's a human instinct. However, what happens to individuals like Diddy or R. Kelly, who are used to having these people, you know, friends, bodyguards, whoever it is, around them 24/7, they have extended themselves for them, and then you get charged with something and they flee. It is such a dehumanizing feeling. I know that that's how R. Kelly felt.
So now that Diddy potentially is next in line, we're seeing a repeat of the same pattern. A-list names disappearing, former friends going silent, publicists scrambling. So were they really working together? On the surface, there's no official paper trail linking the two men as business partners or co-conspirators, but no contracts, no companies, nothing solid. But the parallels are too similar to ignore. So both were known for throwing wild parties with questionable guests. Both had a string of young women around them, often described as controlled, monitored, or even manipulated. Both had long histories of rumors, decades worth, and somehow always skated by. And the people around them, basically one big circle. From music execs to club promoters to bodyguards, it's the same names, the same faces showing up in both their orbits. Sounds like they were competitors of sorts. But even if the timing of their downfalls are eerily similar, first a few whispers, then one brave woman speaks, then boom, the whole house shakes. And here's the real kicker, even if they weren't real partners in crime, they were definitely playing from the same rule book. And that industry rule book that says protect your name, silence your victims, and keep the party going. But now the rules are definitely changing and neither one of them is safe. Cause let's be real, Jaguar Wright might have been ahead of her time. She has been screaming about this exact thing for years, the cover-ups, the secret parties, the unholy alliances, and now it's all unraveling in real time. The public isn't blind anymore and fans are speaking up. Survivors are coming forward and those long ignored lawsuits, they're finally seeing the light of day. And R. Kelly may be behind bars now, but what if this was just the first domino? Because if Diddy's empire goes down, y'all better expect some shockwaves. Executives, rappers, moguls, it's not just about one man, it's about a whole system built on power, fear, and unchecked access. But what's your take on all this? Is Jaguar Wright on to something again, or is she just reaching again? And what about Diddy? Did he really know about R. Kelly and what he was doing behind the scenes? And most importantly, will he snitch on other celebs? Drop your thoughts and comments below, and let me know what you think who could get exposed next. And don't forget, just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's clean. Also, hit that like, subscribe, and turn on them notifications because this story is definitely not over yet.